In 2014, our goal was to educate and inspire the next generation of young Black leaders. Today, we are in search of the best to reveal the secrets to success. Our belief is that we should teach the young early the things that we learn late. Our lives are shifting the culture. Our lives are changing the narrative. These are the ShineHard conversations. Welcome back to a season 5 episode of the ShineHard Conversation. I'm your host, the one and only Johnny Bailey, and this week I'm in New York with ESPN producer, voiceover artist Cornell Jones.
What's going on?
What's up, boss? Cornell has done some very, very amazing things at ESPN in the sports broadcast journalism area, and I'm very excited to have him to learn more about his story, some of the experiences that he's had at ESPN. I've seen him with T.I., I've seen him with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm like, bruh, you all over. I'm trying to get like you, man. So today he's gonna share some of the keys to his personal success and how he got started with ESPN. So, Cornell, time to shine.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you for having me, first and foremost.
Yeah, man. So, I know that you're at ESPN now, and everyone who follows you on Instagram says, this dude is doing something special, but most of us don't see how your journey began. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about your childhood and what growing up was like for you.
Okay. All the way back to the childhood. Manassas, Virginia.
Hey, VA.
Yeah, you know, DMV. I like to claim the DMV. Okay. We right up there.
I hear you.
I always like to say about my childhood, I was raised in the suburbs, but I vacationed in the hood.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So Manassas is a suburb, man. Nice houses, nice everything. My mom is a principal. My dad is a psychological therapist.
Okay.
But he's from Alexandria, Virginia. Gotcha. Which is, you know, a little bit more rugged. So I used to go there with my cousins on the weekends and stuff like that. But growing up, man, was beautiful, man. I went to church about 3 days a week, school and everything. Like, I had to get A's or my mom would get on me. She was actually my principal in middle school and high school. How crazy is that, right? And I used to try to get over, but I was still a good student. And like I said, my home upbringing was amazing. And the only real, like, not negative thing, but the thing that kind of weighs on you a little bit is the expectation. Because your mom is a principal and your dad's a therapist, everybody says, oh, what are you going to do next? The bar is set high for you. The bar is high. So that's the only thing.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do have one older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 3 years older than me. Okay. And I learned everything from him, like what not to do. Really? I love him. He's successful. He's doing everything, but whatever he did, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go the other way on that.
Yeah. So when you were younger, you were watching your brother, you had high expectations from your parents. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I knew from a young age that I just wanted to talk.
Really?
And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how it was, but like growing up through middle school, I was like, hey, I just want to talk. And then when I got to high school, I started watching ESPN. You watch SportsCenter and all that, and you're like, hold on, these guys are talking about sports, and they seem like they're making some money. Yeah. So I was like, I think I want to go down that path. And in high school, I started to do, different clubs and stuff where we would start to mess with cameras, and I fell in love with that side of it as well.
Really?
And all through college, I knew. So probably from 17 on, I knew I wanted to be a reporter / anchor / in the sports arena.
Yeah. So let's transition into your career and what you're doing at ESPN as a host and voiceover artist. What does it mean to be a voiceover artist?
Oh man, so voiceover artist. So I currently am the voiceover artist for college basketball billboards. So anytime you hear ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by whoever.
Oh, that's
that's me for college basketball. And I also do ESPN Plus, which is one of our new platforms we just came out with. I do kind of promotions for those.
Yeah.
And then
I think I have that on Apple TV.
On Apple TV. Listen, support the brand.
Yeah, I got you.
Support the brand.
$4.99 a month ain't too much.
You gotta rock with it. Yeah, it's not bad at all. So just doing stuff like that, and then longer form features as well. Okay. I voice over some cartoon stuff that we do at ESPN. I just finished doing like a 5-minute piece. Okay. So it's really just a little bit of everything. I try to have my hands in a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of long nights in the voiceover booth by yourself, listening to yourself. It's a little weird, but you get used to it.
So you're like in the studio and just like in there with the headphones on and the mic and just going in.
Yeah, and so I do it so much now, I probably have it in my bag, but I have a personal mic that I travel with, and if they call me and say, hey, we need this voiceover, I'll have my mic, I'll set it up, and I'll get under a blanket, to block the echoes out.
Okay.
And then I'll just start talking with my computer, and it's like a little home studio right there.
That's what's up. So did you always know that? I mean, how did you get into that? Because obviously no one says I'm going to be a voiceover artist.
So it was funny. So like I'm a producer as well. So I was producing a piece, and I can't remember the talent who was voicing it over, but they were running late and they couldn't get to the audio booth to voice it over. So I was like, hey, I know how to do it. I'll just go in, voice it over real quick as a scratch track, as we call it.
Okay.
And my manager heard it and she was like, okay, good. And I was like, oh, wait, we gotta wait for the actual voiceover. I gotta replace it. She was like, no, that's good.
Wow.
She was like, put it on air.
Yeah.
And then it started running, and from there, people were like, who is that?
A star was born.
Hey, people, I always joke with people at first because it's the cheap option first.
Okay.
Because I was there and they were like, oh yeah, Cornell can do it. But then when I started charging it and they still started going to me, I was like, all right, I might have something here.
So let's take it back. You're a graduate of Winston-Salem State.
Winston-Salem State University, yes sir.
You love. Talk about what you studied there and what your first job out of college was and how that affected your trajectory into ESPN.
Okay, so I studied mass communications at Winston-Salem State University. Again, I love talking, so people realize that. So I was always in front of the camera.
So you knew going into college, like, I'm going to study this because I want to get into this industry.
I knew. I just, like I said, I ran track at Winston as well, so a lot of my schedule was busy. But yeah, at Winston, I had an amazing time, man. It taught me how to be who I am, if that makes sense. So I went into Winston as one person, and it just enhanced me 10 times over as far as the home atmosphere, the HBCU, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know the feel and the vibe. And then upon graduation, it was hard, man. Yeah. That was the part where I say I struggled the most, is because I applied to 47 TV stations, right? Local TV stations. Got no after no after no after no after no. So like I told you, my mom's a principal, so mom helped me out. She gave me a permanent substitute teaching job. Yeah. So that's what I did for a year. I was a teacher and a track coach at Osborne High School in Virginia. So like I said, that part was just a big struggle. And then thank the Lord for the National Association of Black Journalists. NABJ. If you are a journalist, sports, anything, NABJ. It is a yearly conference. They do stuff all throughout the year, but it's a yearly conference you have to go to if you're a journalist.
I've heard very good things about that organization. I think Candace Burns was on our show a couple of years ago, and she talked about that group.
I think if anybody, like I said, I think any African-American person that's in the business, they know about NABJ, and anybody that's successful is a big part of NABJ.
Let's see. So they really helped you get placed at ESPN, or how did they affect your career?
So NABJ, like I said, it was 2012 in New Orleans, and staying at the host hotel is probably like really expensive. It was like $800, and then registration is like $400.
Yeah.
So
it's an investment.
And then the flight was like another $400. So I'm going down there with like a smooth like $200 in my account, right?
Yeah.
Checking everything. But it's just a big meeting of minds, and people relax down there, and it's a career fair as well.
Okay.
So once I was there, I just started talking to different people. Jay Harris, who's my frat brother. I saw him, spoke to him. I sent him some emails when I was in school.
Very intentional, I'm sure.
Very intentional. Chopped it up with him, and then a woman by the name of Kim Blue, she saw me walking by, and I was waiting for Jay, and she said, hey, can I talk to you? And I was like, no, I'm waiting for Jay. And she said, do you want a job? And I said, why, yes, I do. Let me tighten myself up and come talk to you.
Right.
And then we talked for about like 2 or 3 hours, and after that, kind of came into ESPN as a production assistant right there.
Nice. So that just kind of speaks to the value of mentorship, or seeking out mentors and knowledge that you might not have access to. Talk about some of the mentors that you might have and the gems that they've bestowed upon you throughout your career.
Well, like I said, from a young kid, my mentors were my father. He started a group called the Untouchables in DC. Okay. And it's a youth mentorship group where literally we would go to Alexandria, and it's a group of 40 to 50 young black men. And there were about 10 to 12 people that we looked up to. They used to take us to sailboat camp. I learned how to sail as a kid. Yeah. They used to take us to like basketball games and stuff like that. So from that young age, if you can see that there are black males doing the right thing, it instills it in you. And then going through college, like my chancellor, my directors, and then at ESPN, I mentioned my frat brother, Jay Harris. So like Stan Barrett is my frat brother as well. Stu Scott, so I worked with Stu for like a year, when he was sick on the back end there. But just like seeing people like that attack their dreams and attack their goals, and to be able to sit down and touch with them, it's, you know, you can't put a, like, I get speechless when I talk about it.
Yeah, it's invaluable. Transitioning to the mission of our organization is to close the racial wealth gap in America. The average income for a white family is like $170,000, and the average annual household income for a black family is about $17,000, and it's a huge gap. And our mission is to close that gap through visibility, creating platforms where our leaders can shine and tell their stories, transferring the knowledge to those who need it, and then also collaborating and connecting leaders to foster economic empowerment. I'm very passionate about that, and I feel like I'm the catalyst for those connections, and we're all passionate about different things. And I feel like we all have to be excellent in our field in order for our economy to grow. So when I see you, you're shining, bro. You're doing your thing. You're passionate about what you're doing. What would you say in words is your passion, and when did you know?
And I say my passion in life is seeing others succeed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to when I was a track coach.
Osborne High.
Osborne High School, right? So one of my favorite athletes, Michaela Johnson, right?
Okay.
At the beginning of the year, she's a basketball player. She doesn't want to, run track, but I get her out there. She starts to jump, do all that stuff. Throughout, probably over the course of 6 months, I put in so much work. And then, but I'm not doing anything, but she's doing stuff. She gets to states, right? That's our goal, is to get to states.
Yeah.
She jumps and gets to states. To me, like, that moment inside, I was like tearing up. Just because it's like, to see somebody else put in work for so long and to succeed, that's what it's all about. And I think even in my life right now, I'm working right now for the kids that I don't have. I'm setting a foundation for my family. So I want to see my kids succeed. I want to see my family succeed, my friends, my inner circle.
Generational wealth.
Generational wealth is what it is. So to me, I'm passionate about, that's what gets me going. It's like, okay, I know I can do what I'm doing, but if everybody around me is being successful, like, that's what I need right there.
I think Jay-Z said that. He was like, we measure success by how many people are successful around you.
That's facts. He did just say that on the new album.
Yeah. So what challenges have you faced in your career? I mean, it seems like you knew what you wanted to do early, but what was in the way of you actually getting to where you are today, or maybe even getting to where you're trying to go now? Yeah,
it's a lot of things. As I mentioned, like, the challenge of just getting in the door was very difficult. But once I got to ESPN, like, I'll say, like, I don't think I might be one of the first, if not the first, to come into ESPN as a production assistant, go to associate producer, and then go straight on TV. Like, you don't see it happening too often. A lot of people leave, but when you walk in the door, they say, hey, focus on your job. You're not hired to do this. You're not hired to do that. We want you to focus on your job. And I think that's what makes ESPN, like, so great, is because everybody focuses on their job.
I see.
But I had a greater vision. And not to say that it's the right vision or the wrong vision, but I just needed to take a different path.
Yeah.
So getting that stigma away that, oh, Cornell's just a production assistant. He's just doing this on the side. Like, this is just something fun for him. Getting over that hump was very difficult, but I think I set myself up by wearing ties every day, wearing suits, shaking people's hands. I make it a thing. 30 minutes a day, I just walk around the campus. We have 17 buildings. I just walk around and shake people's hands. And people are like, what are you doing? Like, you're a politician. And I'm like, no, it's just making sure that you connect with people on a different level. You have to be seen as more than just what your job title is, if that makes sense. So that was probably a 3-year, hurdle that I say, that I got over. But and I'm finally getting over that now, and seeing, once you get over a hurdle, there's always the next one.
Right.
So just continuing to get over that is my biggest challenge, I would say.
Do you experience politics in the corporate setting? Because, I mean, if you're shaking hands, you might foster some resentment from other people who are like, why you being a politician? Or
I'll say it's always politics. Like I said, I don't see it as being politics. I see it as just being a nice guy, and I see it as, like, creating relationships, because you never know when you're going to need people.
Exactly.
My dad always says, make your friends before you need them. And a lot of people always say that.
That's a gem.
But make your friends before you need them, and be genuine in what you do.
Right.
People can tell if you're being fake, or if you're just going up, hello, how's it going? Like, what's good? Like, be relaxed. You don't have to always be buttoned up, even though I try to be as far as visually, but you just have to be genuine in what you're doing. And I think people will, not have that attitude towards you.
What inspires you to succeed?
What inspires me to succeed, man? My inner circle. I'll say so I have 2 main friends that I love to death, Desmond Barnes and Jonathan Jackson. And those 2 guys, man, they inspire me daily. And we have a group chat that we just go into, and just rip off stuff. Like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Everybody got the group chat.
The group chats
right?
are paramount. You got to have a couple good ones.
I have like 4 or 5 of them. I have a smaller one, and we call ourselves a big baller brand now. I just have to live. So we've been called different things. We transition. Okay. But the Triple B's, it's a group of about 7 of us. And you know how it is in the group chat. So they inspire me just because of everything they do. There's one guy in there, Michael Bonner, who's a teacher now, who's going on like world tours doing different things. Nice. There's a lot of different people, man. And one of my boys, Des, he quit his job at Walmart to be a travel agent. He was like, I just want to live in Thailand for 6 months. And to me, that's inspiring because I'm like, I don't know if I could even imagine quitting my job. And just going to live in Thailand.
A whole nother country.
And now he's creating trips for hundreds of people at a time.
It's working out for him.
So that's what I say. To me, that's inspiring when I see that in my inner circle. Because I always say, like, my mantra in life is dream, work, and pray. It can happen. So I'm seeing that it can happen every single day. So that's like, it's invaluable. Yeah, I think your peers and your associations are very important to your success and your growth. Because you will become the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So exactly. Do you feel like everyone has a dream? I think everybody has a dream and they just don't realize it yet. They're just scared to admit it to themselves. Or they're scared to go after it because it seems too crazy. I used to tell my students all the time, tell me your dream. If it doesn't make me laugh, it's not big enough. And they used to be like, what? I used to be like, tell me your dream. So when I was in high school, I'd say, I'm gonna work at ESPN, I'm gonna be an ESPN anchor. And people would be like, you tripping, boy. Like only 1 out of every, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. And it's like to this day, when people see me, they're like, yo, I remember you told me like 10 years ago.
So another thing that I'm very passionate about is activism. Okay. I feel like we all are activists in our own right. By you being a black man on TV is a sense of activism because you're disrupting the status quo of broadcast journalism in America. And we all have a responsibility to make change, to be pioneers in some regard in our life. And what would you say frustrates you the most about today's culture with so many things going on in sports, LeBron making comments, people making comments about LeBron, their social media?
I would say that our generation, we seem to be prisoners of the moment. Like we have so much history to lean on that we don't know about.
Right.
And that's not to our fault 100%, but it's to our fault once we get to a certain age because we can read, we can open the internet, and we can do research. And I'm in a sports mindset, but there's so much history outside of sports as well that don't just live in this moment. Right. Lean back on what happened, lean back on what worked, and lean back on that because like back then everybody was together, I feel like.
So what do you feel like is the solution? Like, how do we come together in a greater way?
You have to give people access, I'll say. As I mentioned with the Untouchables earlier, my dad's mentorship group, seeing is believing, man. Like if you see those mentors, if you see those people, if you see something happening, then it's like, okay, I guess I can believe that.
Right.
A lot of people don't have faith these days.
Right.
That's what faith is believing without seeing.
Right, visibility is powerful. Are you reading any books?
The 5 Love Languages. I started reading that book and it just tells you so much about how you love and how your partner loves. If you're looking to get into a relationship or if you're in one, I would definitely suggest to pick up that book.
Yeah, The 5 Love Languages is a very powerful book.
Yeah, have you read it?
I have read it. Yeah, and I think it's great to know deposits and withdrawals and understanding the emotional bank account that we all have. Because a common misconception is that people want to be loved the way that we would want to be loved. And you have to understand people want to be loved in their way.
And it's not even just your partners, it's about your friends. You can read that and have a male to male friendship. Like, oh, this is how he need love.
Yeah, no,
like,
real.
You know, and so it's definitely a book.
I even equate that to business, like understanding what people's deposits are.
Yeah.
You have to know what people's self-interests are so you can fulfill those things in order to exchange. So we have a ton of like high school, college age students, young professionals, and even peers of you and I that are seasoned that look to this show to find out how they can excel in their career, take that leap of faith to entrepreneurship, or just learn how to be a better activist. What advice would you give to young broadcast journalists on how to succeed in the industry? What's the mindset?
I think the one thing that I want to say that sticks out is people turn down good ideas all the time. Don't get discouraged. I have at ESPN, Mark Shapiro, who was a senior vice president a few years back, right? He had an idea for a show and people said, no. We don't want to do that. He was a senior vice president, Brian. So when he got promoted to to the director of content, I believe. He said, I'm doing this show.
Okay.
And it was PTI.
Pardon the interruption.
Pardon the interruption.
Yeah.
One of the mainstays of ESPN. And it took him 5 years to get that show out there. And like I said, to this day, it's the most amazing show. Like everybody loves it, everybody watches it.
Yeah.
But people told him no. So I said, if on that level, somebody can tell him no to a great idea, don't be discouraged when you have an idea and you're like, yo, I know this is fire.
Right.
I know this is fire. Stand behind your idea, create it. If you have to create it yourself, do it.
I appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Hey, man, appreciate you for having
Dropping
me.
the gems. Tell everybody how they can find you, anything that you want our audience to know, and show some love.
Hey, man, you can find me on a lot of different ESPN platforms, ESPN+, ESPN.com, on social media, Cornell W. Jones at all times.
You guys can find me, Johnny Bailey, at @1JohnnyBailey, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Of course, follow the ShineHard movement at ShineHardFam. Visit ShineHardFamily.org. Our mission is to close the racial wealth gap in America through visibility, the transfer of knowledge, and collaboration. We need your support to help accomplish our mission. We've had over 70 donors this year so far, raised a lot of money to help produce this content and to produce the events that we do in the community. So please get involved. Be excellent, because your excellence is activism in itself. That's how you shine. Cornell, thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, bro.